for them. And as I call our candidates' name, candidates, would you wave at everybody so they know who you are? We have Mr. Rich, Mr. Shane Rich. We have Mr. Jim Mullet. And we have Mr. Tony Rust. All right, and so let's give them a hand. All right. And as we do at any GOP event, we like to begin with prayer and with our pledge to the flag. If you would all stand for me, please. And Mr. Mahan, would you lead us in prayer, please?
Father, we just thank you tonight for the privilege that we have together here. We thank you for each and every one of these candidates. We thank you that we're in America and we're free today. We thank you for the liberty that we have. We ask you to bless this meeting and help us all in Christ's name we pray. Amen.
All right, and would Mr. Caleb Akers come and lead us in the pledge to the flag, please, while you're still standing.
Let's say the pledge together. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. You may be seated. Okay, as far as I know, by the way, gentlemen, who'd like water? It's a little warm up here. There you are. All right. We're going to have some fun tonight. As far as I know, this is the first opportunity that we have had to have all of our sheriff's candidates together to answer questions. And so I've got the questions in a sealed envelope here. They came from you. These came from people sending them in to me, and we've compiled them together. And the candidates can attest here in front of everybody. Have any of you received a copy of these questions? Have any of you seen these questions? No, you have not. These are fresh, and nobody has been apprised of their contents. And so we wanted to start there. Now, so let me now go ahead and explain our ground rules tonight. All of the questions reflect questions that were sent to me. And each candidate we're going to start off, every candidate is going to be given 3 minutes to make an opening statement. If a candidate calls another candidate's name or makes a strong allusion to another candidate, that other candidate will be allowed to make a brief response. Candidates will be given 2 minutes to answer each forum question after that. And when the bell rings, the candidate may finish his thought at that time. A notice will be given at the 1 minute mark. Ladies, would you show the 1 minute signal there? The other way around. There we go. All right. Okay, and at the 30-second mark, that way they don't have to be nervous about how much time they have left. They can see, and there again, you will be allowed to finish your thought at the time. Then finally, at the very end, you will be given 3 minutes to make concluding remarks. We'll call that our grand finale, and we'll get to that in just a moment here, okay? So we're going to start off with the 3-minute introductions, and I will be mixing up whom I call on, one after another here. And when it's your turn for this introduction, would you please introduce yourself to the county. Tell us why you're running, why you're qualified to be our county sheriff, and along those lines, if you'd indicate for us how long you've lived in the county, what law enforcement agencies you've worked for, how many years you've been a full-time, complete, certified officer of the law, those kinds of things. So let's start with Mr. Rich. Mr. Rich, if you could respond to that, please. And as soon as you pick up the microphone, you have 3 minutes.
I'm Shane Rich.
I think everybody can hear you.
Do what?
I think, can everybody hear him?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
I've been in law enforcement for about 12 years. I started in 2006 down there at Davis PD. I was a reserve officer down there. I came up here to Winningwood and started my full-time career in 2008. From 2008 to 2010, I started with Winningwood, and then I went from there to the Garvin County Sheriff's Office. I started there for approximately 4 years, and I got out.
What's your key amount?
Oh, I'm sorry. served in Garvin County about 4 years, and then I left, got in the oil field. Then I got back out and went come back to Hilton PD and served there with Johnny Turner from 2016 to 2018. And went to Elmore City, serving currently as the chief of police. I believe the reason I'm running, with my years of experience, one side of this microphone works and the other one don't. My years of experience, I believe I can just do a better job than what's been done. It's just my belief. I mean, everybody has their own belief of how they're gonna run something. I'm not saying that anybody's doing wrong or right, it just, everybody has their own belief of how they do stuff. I believe I can bring some of the training I learned throughout the years of doing this job.
Okay, I tell you what, we'll just use this microphone.
It's cordless. All right.
Excuse me, let me walk in front of you here just to hang this up, and then we'll try that microphone, and we'll just do it that way.
Does that take up part of my 3 minutes?
No, I've stopped the clock.
Okay,
She's got you covered.
When you start talking again, I'll turn it on.
okay. After serving as chief of police there in Elmore, I started figuring out that, it's not hard to lead. You just gotta want to, and you gotta have a drive to. And you start getting these good officers in, they start serving the community, and you start seeing the outreach, and people responding back. And telling you things that you don't realize, but you start seeing it later on, and hearing it by the community. And they come to you and ask you, hey man, you need to run for sheriff. We think you'd do really good. Man, I didn't have a thought in the world about running for sheriff, because this is a big job. The people that haven't been in that sheriff's office, they don't know the workload that it carries. There's a lot in there. In a small agency, it don't have the workload that sheriff's office carries. Oh, I'm up to 30 seconds. Well, to conclude, I just think I can do a really good job of being Garvin County Sheriff. Haven't been in front of a lot of crowds, so this is one of my first time, I guess. But thank you for letting me talk.
Thank you, Mr. Rich. Mr. Mullen, could you respond to the same question, please? Let's try to use that microphone and see if it works well. If it does, we're in good shape.
Okay.
No, okay.
All right, my name is Jim Mullen, and just tell you just a little bit about me. I am the sheriff here in Garvin County. I've been appointed sheriff July 15th, 2019. Just a little bit about me. I started my career in law enforcement with the sheriff's office. I started as a jailer. I remember doing a ride-along before I came into the office, and just fell in love with the camaraderie, fell in love with just being a part of the community, giving back, and I wanted to be there. And I had an opportunity to be hired as a jailer, so I started at the bottom, and I worked my way up through the ranks. And from a jailer job, I went to as a deputy, and I worked as a deputy for a little while, and became a sergeant, and then from a sergeant to an undersheriff. And then the previous sheriff, when he retired, I took that position there. So I've been under sheriff at the sheriff's office since 2009. You guys, I've been at the bottom. I worked my way all the way to the top. I know what's going on with the sheriff's office from the jail, what's going on in the field, and just like what the gentleman said, he said you're right. It's a big job, guys. I've been doing it for the last year. And it's been running great. We've got great people. We've got great deputies that are working. We've got a great staff that's making it work almost like flawlessly. We've got a great jail. So I know how the jail works, and I also know how the budget works. And I've been a part of that budget. That takes a lot to run a big company like that. We've got deputies. We've got a transport division. We've got the front office. We've got courthouse security that we're running. And then also the jail itself. So it is a big operation, and I've been there, and I believe that I've shown what I could do this last year. I show you my character, my dedication. I worked under 3 sheriffs. I'm still there. I haven't moved off. I haven't gone into another direction. I haven't gone to another field. I've been right here, serving this community from the bottom up. I want to continue to do what I'm doing, because I believe I'm good at it. I finally got the opportunity to show you And I want to continue to show you what we've got planned for this next 4 years that I've got coming on. Guys, I've got so many plans. It's awesome. I've got the commissioners behind me. We're working well with the commissioners. I've got things are going on that I want to be able to share with you, and just to show you, to prove to you that we're going to have a great sheriff's office, continue to have a great sheriff's office, and build off what we've already got. And I want to tell you, thank you, I appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mr. Rust, would you respond to the same question, please?
You'll have to excuse me, I had back surgery here a while back, and I'm not over it yet. But I'm working on it every day. I've been in law enforcement for about 22 years. I started out as an investigator, a workers' comp investigator for the state of Oklahoma, and was very successful at that. I went to work for the General Motors plant as a workers' comp investigator, and I just about shut their workers' comp place down because they had people that had drawn close to $1 million in workers' comp, and it was all fake stuff. They were real easy on people. They'd go in and say they were hurt, and they'd send them to the doctor, and they'd come back and they'd go on workers' comp and draw a big check, and we got them away from that. From there, I went as a district attorney investigator down in eastern Oklahoma in LaFleur County. LaFleur County is wild open territory down there. It's just different. It's a different place than what Garvin County is. And I worked a little bit of everything in the district attorney's office. I worked child support. I worked with the drug task force, things like that. And the district attorney lost his contract that paid me, and I went to work for the Choctaw Tribal Police as a supervisor at the casino at Sallisaw. I was a shift supervisor, and I got to do some federal training with FLETC. I went over to the Cherokee Casino and worked for them at the same capacity, and got more federal training. And a good friend of mine was a state fire marshal in LaFleur County. And let me tell you about LaFleur County and the state fire marshal. LaFleur County, arson is a sport. They set stuff on fire down there just for the fun of it. And I worked for them for, I don't know, like 12 years, I guess, and I retired. This building brings back memories here because I spent 23 years in Falls Valley as a school administrator and a football and track coach, very successful in the football and track, and very successful. Is that my bill there? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Rust. Okay, we're going to have to pass the microphone around, I guess, because this one's not working, so let's just kind of set that in the middle, if we could. I apologize for that. I will register a complaint. All right, we're going to move on to our 2-minute questions here. So these are our actual forum questions. You will have 2 minutes to respond, and we will go in random order here. So we're going to, the first question is, I'll read it for everybody. Feel free to ask me to reiterate the question if you need me to, okay? The question is, I believe that we would all agree that integrity and trust are important to law enforcement. With that in mind, what ideas do you have for fostering and promoting integrity and trust? Mr. Mullet, I'd like to start with you.
What a great question. Integrity. No, this one don't work.
Okay.
Here we go.
Oh, that was
It's on now. What a great question. Integrity goes a long ways. Integrity, what I've been trying to do in our office, and my guys can contest to this, is that we want to do the right thing. There's been some situations where, you know, I've been approached and they said, why don't you do that? I said, because it's not the right thing to do. And so we're learning. We're gonna do the right thing no matter how hard it is. We're gonna do the right thing no matter what it seems like it costs us, because the right thing to do all the time is the right thing. And so the integrity goes a long way. And so we've been implementing this, saying, well, listen, we're gonna be professional. We're going to continue with our integrity. We're going to do the right thing when it comes to cases, the way that we treat people, the way that we present ourselves out there in the county, the way that we do things, just the way that we handle ourselves. We're going to handle ourselves with integrity, from the office to things that we post on Facebook to just the things that we're going to be doing out there in the public. And it's a growing experience. It's a growing thing that we're trying to do, but it's the principles that I have. It's the principles that I grew up with, and that we're going to do the right thing. And I want to preach that. I want to get that out to the guys, because it feels good to be able to walk and go home at night and say we did the right thing. You guys, there's been some incidents where when I told my staff, I said, when we go home tonight, we're going to lay our head down and we're going to sleep well, because we know that we did the right thing. That's what we're trying to get out there, because we want to be approachable. We want to show the people that in the community that we're not, just because we got a badge on, that we're not above the law, that we're going to investigate, we're going to do the right thing. We're going to bring the integrity from our office to the county. And we've got some great people and great constituents that have great integrity. And so that was a great question. I appreciate that.
Mr. Rust, could you respond to that question, please? Feel free to be seated if you need to. We can hear you.
Does anybody know the definition of integrity? On my signs, I've got honest and integrity. Integrity is being honest when nobody's looking. And that's the way I want the sheriff's office to be if I'm elected sheriff. I want to do the right thing all the time, and I don't want to have to worry about my deputies not doing that. I think that is something that's given to you by your parents, the honesty and integrity. And I tell you that I had a dad that believed in being honest. It's kind of like George Washington. I don't think I ever told a lie, because I knew what he had in store for me if he caught me at it. And but it's something you have to have. It's something in law enforcement. You've got to have people look up to you. You can't see an officer doing something out on the street, and then the officer stops somebody for doing the same thing. Whoever he stops is going to say, you know, hey, I saw you doing that. What's wrong with that? And you got to know, like I say, you got to know the difference between honesty and integrity.
All right. All right. Thank you. Thank you. And Mr. Rich, would you respond to that question, please?
Integrity starts right here at the beginning of your campaign. Telling all these folks that you can do a lot of stuff, that you make me false promises you cannot complete in this field. Standing behind what you can do and showing people that you can back up what you told them at the beginning. Standing beside everything that you tell people. That way they know that you're for real. You're not just up here politicking, just trying to get a job, making false promises that you cannot keep. And standing behind your officers, your deputies. If they see you leading an example of high integrity, they're going to follow that example. Integrity starts with leadership. Because if you're out there showing them what the leadership's all about, they're going to follow you. But you got to give them something to follow and where to follow them. can see in this field that integrity sometimes it suffers just by some of the things that have recently went on. And hopefully we can show a stronger commitment to showing integrity and change the way that people look at these officers and these deputies.
Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Rich. Okay. The next question. The duties of the office of sheriff are set by state statute. Prioritize the duties as most important to you if elected. Mr. Rust, could you respond to that, please?
I believe when you take an oath of office that you need to stick with that oath and make sure that your deputies know what that is. If they see you, much like Mr. Rich said, if they see you, what you're doing, they're going to copy what you do, and that's a good thing. If what you're showing them is honesty and integrity, it's kind of like monkey see, monkey do. And you can't say one thing and do another. You've got to stand by what your oath to that office says for you to do. You got to uphold that. You've got to listen to the people in the county. That's one of the things that I've heard around here, that there's some people that have called in and requested a deputy or wanted to see a deputy and they never showed up. You can't do that. You got to go on these calls no matter how minor they are, because you're making somebody feel good about getting you down to where they are. And usually that's the south part of the county, because I've got a friend down there that has tried to get some things done, never did get them done. So, excuse me. Anyway, I just think that you need to stand by that oath you take. It's very, very important.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Mullen, would you respond to that question, please? Sure. The duties of the office of sheriff are set by state statute. Prioritize the duties as most important to you if elected.
The main priority that I've got is I want to work for the people. You guys are my boss. And so we got to respond to what you have to say. You know, I want to be open. I had a guy call me the other day and said, continue doing what you're doing with that open communication. And one of my deputies said, man, you have an open door policy like I haven't seen before, because that's what I want. I want my door to be open. The other day, I talked to my deputies the other day, and I told them, I said, I don't care how small the call is or how big the call is. If they want to talk to the sheriff, I want to respond. If they want me to come over, I want to come over. We're going to take care of business. And Mr. Russ is correct. If there's a call for service, we're going to take our call. My job is on the oath is to stand. We're going to show the community that we all take the oath. We're all going to take an oath as uphold the law. We're going to do the right thing. That's what I'm preaching to this office this last year, is we're going to do the right thing. We're going to be out there taking the calls. We're going to be out there making sure that we are there for you guys. Yeah, we can sit in the office all day long, but our job is for you. And our job is to take the calls. Our job is to make sure that you're safe, make sure that this county's safe, and do what it takes, and make sure that we're serious about it. And I'm serious about what's going on in this county. How if things are falling through the cracks, I want to fix it. If things aren't getting done right, I want to fix it, because that's going to be my oath. That's the oath that I did take. That's the oath that I put my hand on my own personal Bible and said, this is the oath that I want to uphold. I'm going to be the sheriff that you appointed me. I'm going to be the sheriff when you vote me in. This is what the sheriff that's going to be. We take it serious. We're taking it serious because we work for you. And we're going to do what it takes, and we're going to do it the right way.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Rich?
Can you repeat it?
Yes, sir. The duties of the office of sheriff are set by state statute. Prioritize the duties as most important to you if elected.
An oath is the first thing you take when you take this job on. Prioritizing, commitment, serving, no matter how small the calls are, and actually fulfilling calls. And also, inside the office, delivering the message to your deputies and your officers of how to devote that oath also. And teach them those. I lost track. All I gotta say.
Okay, sure, no problem. Yeah, don't feel like you have to take up the whole time. If your answer is succinct, that's fine. That's not a problem. That's not a problem. All right. The next question. Do you agree with the current push for criminal justice reform? Criminal justice reform. And if so, how do you think it should be implemented? Mr. Mullet, we'll start with you this time.
We've been working with the community sentencing. We've been working with the reforms, but the best we can. You guys, I'm a different type of sheriff, and I've talked about this before. My job is I've got a weird job. Let me tell you just a little bit how I feel about this. My job is what everybody thinks is that I take people to jail. That's not my job. I'd rather have. You might think I'm crazy, you might think I'm way off base, but I'd rather have an empty jail than a full jail. Now hear me out. Don't think that I'm not taking people into jail, but what I'd rather have somebody go to jail and then maybe find a program or something and learn not to go steal your lawnmower or not to go learn to steal something and go back out into the community and become a productive citizen. Wouldn't you rather have that than have a jail full of a whole bunch of people? Yeah, we're going to take it seriously, and when we have to take someone to jail, we're going to take them to jail. But I've been working with the ministers around the county, and we've got some plans with the ministers. I visited with them. I told them my plan, what I would like to have done. Somebody gets out of jail. And they go, let's say they go to Stratford, and they go right back to where right back to their people. I hear it every day. I don't have anybody to hang with. I don't have anybody I go right back to the same crowd. That needs to change. And I've talked to ministers around this county saying, listen, would you be willing, if this guy got out, just to talk, not give them money, not put them up or anything, but talk to them when it's hard. And maybe, just maybe, we could reform them and to get them into a better crowd of people. It takes one person. It takes one person to start it. And so I've been reaching out to these ministers and saying, listen, we've got to do something. They keep going right back to the same old crowd, getting into the same old trouble because they don't have anybody else to lean on. And so, yeah, that's kind of something I want to be implemented, and I've already started with that. And so I've got some great plans, guys, and we'll get it done.
All right, Mr. Rich, would you respond to that question, please?
You read?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Do you agree with the current push for criminal justice reform? And if so, how do you think it should be implemented?
I do agree. There's a lot of these people out here that are users. They come in, they catch a fine, they go back out. They got the burden of the fine now. They have nowhere else to turn to. Let alone the majority of people understand that it turns into a mental health issue instead of just an addiction. It's something it's a burden on these people. And just throwing a fine on them and putting them in jail is not enough. To help people reform, you got to give them a direction, a way out. I've witnessed this by multiple people. Being in this field and handling the majority of the cases with drugs. And we still have that problem, and it's getting worse. Because we never give a direction for anybody else to have that chance to get out of that problem. We give them a $1,000 fine, not 6 months of rehab. Why can't we request for 6 months of rehab, court ordered, if they fail to do that and show no significant want to? get out of that life, then go ahead and put the fine. But they gotta have a chance. And I mean, I believe in what they're doing. But, and the mental health, some of these drugs that they're taking now, I mean, it's caused Christ. I don't know why we couldn't have a mental health person inside the jail to sit down and speak with these people and give them a chance to talk to somebody when they have these issues. But thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Rust?
I don't think justice reform is just a problem in Garvin County. I think there's 76 other counties in the state of Oklahoma that's got the same problem. And I think every state in the union right now, if you watch TV, they need some reform, they really do. But as far as the sheriff of Garvin County, he just has to do the best he can do with getting these people in here. I mean, you know, you're gonna be arresting people, there's no doubt about it. But if there's any way you can give them any kind of help, as far as just listening to their story, like Sheriff Mullis said, talk to them and find out if there's something you could do to make them, they're not going to straighten up, they're going to have to get a taste of what they need a taste of, and that's just being in a jail cell. And that's not the best thing to do, but that's sometimes the only thing you can do. And like I say, it's just not our problem in Garvin County, it's a statewide problem. It's a nationwide problem. And but we're in Garvin County, so we'll have to deal with it here the best we can. And I don't know all the answers to that, but I do know that it's important, and it's just something we'll have to work on every day.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. All right, my next question. The position of county sheriff requires a highly developed set of leadership skills. What examples can you give us of your leadership skills or your ability to lead others? Mr. Rich, can we start off with you on this question?
Leadership comes in all areas. And at the head, being the head of the sheriff's office, you know, it starts with you. And it trickles down, and people see that. With guidance and the way you treat people. I'm not a man of many words, but I get a little off track every once in a while. But leadership is the main goal that you got to have in making something function inside that sheriff's office, because if you have not been in there, the workload is tremendous. I said that before. And to make everything go easier, if they have a direction of giving leadership and showing people how much easier you can make it inside that office, they'll follow. And it makes everything go a whole lot easier with your public relations, your cases, and everything inside the office, handling the jail, your court cases, whatever you have going on. If you have good leadership, it'll be handled smoothly. So there is a stress level in the sheriff's office. And those that work in it, they understand what carries behind it. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Rust, could you respond to that question, please?
Leadership is not something that is done by everybody the same way. You have to find your leadership ability. You've got to dig deep down inside and find that. I've got a couple of college degrees, and leadership, they didn't teach us leadership. They gave us an education, and you've got to figure it out for yourself, how to be a leader. You need to lead by example, I know that. I preached that to my kids when I was coaching, that they had to, if they wanted to be leaders, they had to show the other kids in this school that they had the ability to be a leader. And you'd be surprised at some of the kids that stepped up and made themselves a good leader. They did it. I didn't do it. But they did it just by me telling them that they needed to do that. And leadership is something that is, I think it's kind of inside of you. It's something you're born with. And I don't know that you can, I guess you can develop leadership, but I've never seen anybody that developed leadership do it the same way that everybody else did it. You just got to find your own niche.
Okay, and Mr. Mullen, would you respond to that question, please?
Yes, leadership, I believe the question was what we do as a leader.
Yeah, would you like me to reiterate the question? Sure. The position of county sheriff requires highly developed leadership skills. What examples can you give us of your leadership skills or your ability to lead others?
All right, so some of my examples is that I've been there. So I've seen the falls, I've seen the good things, and I've seen some of the bad things. I've seen some of the things that just didn't work, guys. It just didn't work, and so some of my examples is to say, listen, I've been there, I know what works and what doesn't work. And a good leader puts it in his trust in his people. A good leader is going to be something that steps up in the hard times and still has a smile on their face. Our leader could get us through the hard times when they know they have to have somebody to lean on. Being the sheriff of this great county, sometimes there's a lot of pressure, guys. It's not just cakewalk all the time. It's pressure. But a good leader is going to come into that door and go, what are we going to accomplish today, guys? What are we going to do today, guys? Where are we at? Where are the failures? What can't we fix it? And a good leader is not going to sit there and look at all the failures that we've done in the past and say, listen, we understand what doesn't work. Let's fix what we can, and let's strive to be better on a daily basis. That's what a good leader is. And I believe that I've done that. I've been there. I've been in the jail. I've been in the field. I've been in investigations. I've been a supervisor, an undersheriff, and now I'm a sheriff. And I believe that is a good example of a leadership. Guys, I've been there. I've watched it, and be able to have those doors open and say, listen, I know how to lead, and let's go, and we're going to accomplish some great things, because not only my leadership, but because of the deputies that we've got that are leading this county as well.
Thank you. Okay, the next question. Recent events in our nation have underscored the need to regulate the necessary use of force to a reasonable, appropriate level. If elected county sheriff, how would you ensure that the force used by your sworn deputies and jail staff meets the standard of being reasonable, appropriate, and necessary? Mr. Rust, can we start with you this time?
You'll have to read that again.
Yes, sir. Recent events in our nation have underscored the need to regulate the necessary use of force to a reasonable, appropriate level. If elected county sheriff, how would you ensure that the force used by your sworn deputies and jail staff meets the standard of being reasonable, appropriate, and necessary?
I tell you, I was talking to somebody today. I said that they were talking about whatever the guy's name was. I ought to know it. I've seen enough of it on TV. But good cops don't like bad cops. Good cops, good deputies can take care of the deputy that's got a bad attitude, or he's not doing what he's supposed to do. And that's not going to the sheriff in Bratton, because the sheriff will know. He knows who his good deputies are, and he knows who his weak deputies are. And he's got to just talk to them and say, hey, listen, we can't be doing this kind of stuff. And if they've been watching TV, they've seen a good example of what happened. This one bad deputy has caused, 3 or 4 other deputies to go to prison, and or is going to prison, and that didn't need to happen. And the main thing is, that's not the way we're trained. When we go to law enforcement school, when we go up there to do custody and control, that's not something they show you. They don't show you how to put your knee on somebody's neck. That's just ridiculous. It's I don't know. Well, the world is not what it used to be, put it that way. We're living in a different world. And the sad part about it, it's not getting better quick.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Mullen, would you respond to that question, please?
Yeah, I believe what we're doing, what we're doing is training. We've got training that's going on right now. You know, you've got your fleet training, you got your reserve fleet training. We even implemented the jail training. We've got jail training that is approved by CLEAT. We talked about the use of force. I think the best way to do it is when we see these incidents, just like what's going on over here, and in other incidents, even in Oklahoma, some of the things, we've taken those articles, we've taken those news feeds, and we share them with our deputies, we share them with our jail staff, and we put it as part of our training. Say, this is inappropriate. This is not what we're all about, and we continue that training. I believe that we need to be held accountable, guys. If we're out there, if we are John Wayne in it, we're thinking that we're above the law's going to come down. We're not above the law. Just because we got a bad job, just because we're elected as sheriff, we're not above the law. And I think we need to be held accountable. We put in place a use of force policy. We put in place a use of force review board in our office. It goes to about 4 different supervisors before it gets to my desk to review, to make sure that we're doing it right, we're doing it proper, we're doing it by procedure, we're doing it by CLEAT training. And if it's not, then we're going to be held accountable for those things. But the main thing is, if you're not taught it, you got to be taught even from the very beginning. And so I believe that in order to do that, I think we need to implement more training, keep it going. You know, we go out and we shoot one qualified time. How many times we actually drive our cars the way we're supposed to drive. And so we need to continue this training and make sure that we are held accountable, because we are, guys, we're all held to a higher standard. That's just part of, that's who we are. We're held higher, and we need to be trained to do the right thing. And so I believe that we need to be held accountable if we're not.
Okay, thank you.
Me also?
Yes. Yeah, sure. Recent events in our nation have underscored the need to regulate the necessary use of force to a reasonable, appropriate level. If elected county sheriff, how would you ensure that the force used by your sworn deputies and jail staff meets the standard of being reasonable, appropriate, and necessary?
The first step is training. Have them trained, they develop the policies. Have them where they follow the policy towards the standards. That way, when they do testify to something that they haven't done, they have a policy and guideline to go by. That way they know if they step outside the line of these policies, they're going to be handled accordingly. There's really no way to justify the things that was done. You can tell whatever happened, that person missed a few training days. But training is just the #1 key to ensure to help deputies and officers to do the job correctly and follow guidelines. Because adrenaline gets high out there, but you have to maintain control. If you can't maintain control, you're going to reap consequences. But the #1 thing is training and policies and guidelines and teaching and leading. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, my next question This question refers to things such as body cams, radars, rifle program, license plate readers, etc. And the question is, what new technology will you implement to provide a more efficient, effective sheriff's office? Mr. Mullen?
Well, there's a lot of technology going on right now that it's just crazy. You can get caught up with so much stuff. The main thing that we look at is budget. You know, our guys sit and say, they give me a wish list of everything that they'd like to have. In reality, guys, we gotta look at budget. You know, I love to have readers and all these things like that, but I also have to have cars that run too. So we're looking at some things. Our main thing that we're doing right now is my main goal is investigations. That's where I want my guys to have. So we're looking at some new technology that we actually are looking at right now is to help with sex crimes. You'll blow you away how much sex crimes we have here just in Garvin County. But we gotta have the tools, we gotta have the right things to help with to put those things in a computer's situation. iPads, mobile cops in our vehicles. You know, so they're not holding up a comm center to run a tag number, but we could have some good up-to-date computers and maybe some iPads. So those that we've already actually looked at those, and we've already got some bids on those, looking for the next fiscal year to implement some of those things that we have, so that our guys become better investigators. Schooling, some of the things that we got going on is some of the schooling and training. And so it's all those intertwined so they can become better investigators. That's my main goal, is I want to be out there investigating crimes and solving crimes and bringing these tools in order to help us solve some crimes.
Mr. Rich, would you respond to that, please?
Yes, sir. Repeat it for me, please.
Sure. This question refers to such things as body cams, radars, rifle program, license plate readers, etc. And the question is, what new technology would you implement to provide a more efficient, effective sheriff's office?
Well, updated computers in a vehicle, laptop computers, I believe would be one asset that they could have. Because when you handle stuff in a county, you might be 35 minutes, 45 minutes on the other side of the county. You can document a few things that you do, which you could do it on hand notes, but you can save it and you can download it to the computer when you get back to the office, which cuts down on a lot of time in the office. And it also helps him. I think one of them, what we got right now is Otis. We have it in our vehicles. And it is, in a municipality, they write more traffic tickets and other stuff. They don't work as many investigations as the sheriff's office. But it's helping to cut down on the time going back to the office. And to help get some of these equipment and stuff that people are looking for, there are grants available out there that you can apply for. They're pretty easy to come by. I've had a lot of people call and advise me of a lot of grants floating around to help assist these agencies, because they know that the budget is limited in these government agencies. But I just had to look at some of the things that they had out there to help implement and cut down on their time. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Rust.
I think a lot of technology is going to take your city council and your county commissioners, because they are the ones that control the budget, and everything that you get, everything you want has got a price tag, put it that way. I know a lot of places you see across the state, they've got some industries and stuff like that that will buy body cams for all the officers. I haven't been back in Garvin County for 3 years, and I don't know of any industry in Garvin County that could afford that at this time. There may be some, but that's the main thing right there, is the cost of all this stuff. It'd be nice to have body cameras. It would be nice to have computers in the vehicles. I can't think of anything else that would really, that you could get that wouldn't cost big money though. And I'm not about to say tasers because I think that takes a whole new twist on things. I don't know that you can trust all your deputies to use those the way they're supposed to be used. You might, because I've been through that training, and I'm sure Mr. Mullet has too. You get to take a hit off of that taser, and it's not pleasant. And if you always have that in your mind when you're carrying one of those things, you're not going to pull it out and hit somebody with it. Because it definitely is not a pleasurable experience.
Okay, thank you. All right, my next question. Staffing rural law enforcement agencies is a challenge due to concerns such as working conditions, salary, recruitment issues. What are your plans to achieve and maintain adequate staffing at the Sheriff's Office? Can we start with you, Mr. Rich?
That falls back in the budget again. Adequate staffing, which is something that's always limited in the sheriff's office. It's just hard to get enough people to serve communities, no matter where you work at. But I believe there are programs out there to help hire on people and to get things started in another direction of hiring people. I'll hand it off to you.
Okay, all right, and let's give this to Mr. Russ then.
I think I'm going to keep seated here. There again, it all boils down to what the county commissioners will let you do. You can't hire staff if you don't have the money. You can't make purchases if you don't have the money. And the county commissioners are the ones that control the purse strings. That's what you've got to remember. It'd be nice if you just walk in on Monday morning and say, boy, I saw something really neat over the weekend. We need to get it for our officers. And that'd probably go over like a lead balloon. In the commissioners meeting, they don't want to hear that. They want to hear that what you've got, you can take care of right now. You can do your business with what you've got right now, and because everybody can find something else that they want and they feel like they need, but you got to convince the county commissioners or the city councils in Mr. Rich's case to bring forth the money for that stuff. And when I worked for the fire marshal, there were some things that I really wanted, and we got some of them, but it was like we were begging for it, and I hate to beg for anything. You know, I'm used to, if I want something, I've got the money, I buy it, but I hated to go beg for equipment.
Okay, Mr. Mullen.
I'm going to be completely opposite of these two gentlemen. I feel like we need to pay our people more. And I know what he's saying, and he's absolutely correct. We are confined by constraint of budget. As with the commissioners, when we walk into the excise board, they tell us exactly how much they're going to give us. But you guys, we think out of the box. And that's what I've been trying to do. We got things. We've got transport division that brings money in for transports. We've got warrant services that we get $50 per warrant. We've got housing that we do for municipality that we try that we bring in money. There's other programs that we're doing. I'm fighting hard to try to keep people. You know what the difference is I'm trying to. We got good people in our office that I feel that aren't even touch what they're worth. If I could pay them what they're worth, we'd definitely be in the negative because we got some great people. But in order to maintain it is correct. We got to look at our budget and think out of the box. How we're going to bring some money in. I don't want to just live off what the commissioners give us. I want to be able to get some money so that we can continue to hire and maintain what we've got. My goal in the next fiscal year is I want another deputy on the streets. I want another deputy for you, and it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. We might have to put, print on both sides of the paper instead of one side of the paper. Yeah, we're going to tighten some strings. But that's how we're going to maintain to try to get our people to stay, is to treat them and pay them for what they're worth.
Thank you. Okay, this next question has to do with House Bill 4138, which enables cities and municipalities to use money from opioid settlements. Should this money become available, how would you use the funds as sheriff? Mr. Rust, can we start with you?
You've heard us talk about all this stuff about body cameras and your wish list, what you want. That's what this money could go for, and it could go for hiring more help too. It could hire maybe 1 or 2 deputies, because I'm telling you, sometimes when you make a bust and there's drugs involved, there's usually money around, and if you can confiscate that and the district attorney will give that to you, it'll go far. You can use it, and that's what I think needs to be done. I think that's where, in this day and age, because you're not going to get the money from the commissioners, you're going to have to figure out ways, just like Mr. Mullet said. And I know when I was in the school business, it was always bake sale or something. You can't do that in county jail. But anyway, there's a lot of money involved in this new law that the sheriff and the smaller counties, or the smaller cities in the counties, if they do one of these busts and find this stuff, could use that money for. I mean, I think that that's something that probably needs to be looked at very seriously.
All right, and Mr. Rich, could you respond to that, please? Yes, sir. This next question has to do with House Bill 4138, which enables cities and municipalities to use money from opioid settlements. Should this money become available, how would you use the funds as sheriff?
Well, everybody knows how these vehicles are at the sheriff's office. They go through a beating. These roads are rough on them. That'd be one area you could use it in. Maybe more equipment. Maybe some drug dogs. I mean, it's something to help benefit the county to do more things. There's just all kinds of stuff you can do with extra money that comes into the sheriff's office, because you're limited to what you have. Everybody knows that. That's all I got.
Thank you. Mr. Mullen?
Basically, what I was thinking is that if you just put it in an MO account, there's a maintenance operation. And that account allows us to use it at our discretion, wherever we need. Each month is different. You run into something, just like what Mr. Rich said. He said, our car, you're right, we got some cars that got 300,000 miles on our cars. Well, if a car breaks down, we got some money. If we do need equipment, we do need an iPad for investigators. We got some money. If something breaks or in the jail or in the office, we've got it. So my suggestion would be just to put it in a maintenance and operation, so that we have access to it on rainy days. Something that takes place, something that goes on that we actually need to reach into a fund and be able to help us out. That's kind of where I like to have, because I can sit here and give you a wish list. I have some deputies that say, give me a wish list, and then at the time I actually put a number to it, yeah, it's a wish list though. I mean, there's no way we got that much money, but I'm saying if something happens, just like a rainy day that we could dip into and help the county and help subsidize some of the money that the citizens are actually paying. We could reach into that account and use that account.
Okay, thank you. Could you please tell us what improvements you believe are necessary at the county jail? Mr. Russ, could we start with you?
I couldn't answer that question, since I haven't been up to the county jail here. I haven't been inside the county jail, so I don't know. Mr. Mullet can answer that because he's running the thing right now. That's really not a fair question for somebody that hadn't served.
Okay. Mr. Mullen, would you like to respond to that, please?
Love to respond to that. Again, like I told you, I started in that jail. I know every nook and cranny in that jail. I know what plumbing works on, what every crack and nook that's in that place. You guys I've got an idea. I'll throw it out there. I think that we need a new jail, but I don't think that we need to pay for it. All of it, Garvin County. McLean County needs a jail. They can't get it passed. We got some money stored up to have a jail. They need a jail bad. I have an opportunity, guys, that could save this county millions of dollars that I want to put on the table if I'm elected. We could save this county millions of dollars in operation costs just alone to build a jail, and that's a regional jail. We could put 2 jails together, McLean County, Garvin County, throw it at a trust and let somebody run it. Take our people, move them over there. They could work for the trust. That's going to save hundreds of thousands of dollars in this county just alone. Take their money and our money, put it together, and we could have one jail, and this county would save millions of dollars. If we had to try to build a jail, it's going to cost us a lot of money. This jail's falling apart. If I could use this, it was born in 1974. And for a daily use, everybody on a daily basis being used. The jail's old. However, at our last inspection, we were above our standards. And so we're doing an excellent job with what we got, but I don't think we need to fix one. We're just putting a Band-Aid on an old jail. But I'm telling you guys, I've got an opportunity to sit down with both counties and have both counties save millions of dollars.
Thank you, Mr. Rich.
I'm also limited in what I can say about the jail. I just had people call and ask me about the food and stuff, which I couldn't tell them anything about it. You know, I get calls about complaints. I agree with Mr. Rust here. I don't have a lot to say about the jail because I'm not sure what it needs. I've been back here just a few times. Majority of the time, just serving as a field dedicator and officer. So,
Okay, thank you. All right, my next question. How would you deal with mental health issues in the county jail with regard to treatment, medication, things like paranoid schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, etc.? Mr. Rich?
that goes back to what I said earlier about having a mental health service personnel inside the jail. Figuring out how to get funding for it, to where you have somebody on staff 24 hours a day to answer or talk to these people when they do get out of line, or they're having the issues that they have. That's what supports what I said a while ago about having mental health inside the jail. It's just a good tool to have to help these folks for better reform. Just to help them get in there and have somebody to go to. Because I don't understand the struggles that they go through. And we're not mental health people. So.
All right, thank you. Mr. Mullen?
You guys, and they probably don't know this, but we have medical staff 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. These guys are my front line. And the way that I'm dealing with it, it seems like it is a daily deal that we're seeing in the jail. The way what I'm fighting, just this week, I've been on the phone with a mama for all week long. She's calling me. How's my boy? He's 35 years old and he's got some mental issues. This is what I do as a sheriff. I got a hold of our mental health that we have at the jail. We got them in front of an iPad, started talking to a counselor. They said, "You're right, Sheriff, this guy needs some help." But here's what's the problem is, if you don't know how the mental health works in the jail, I'm telling you, we could sit for hours and discuss it, because if he's got charges, they don't want to take it because he's got charges. But if he's got charges enough, we don't want to drop the charges because he needs to be held, or she needs to be held accountable for it. But just this week, I was able to get a gentleman over here in Ardmore to get his meds regulated, and was able to have, because we got such a good relationship with the judges and the district attorneys. They said, "We'll write a court minute. You get them some help that they need." and then bring them back to the jail and let your medical staff that we have on staff right now regulate that and make sure that it's taken care of. That's what I did this week. That's what we plan on doing with our mental health, is to try to get them the help that they need. It's it's bigger than a 2-minute discussion, because I think the system fails, but it can't start with us. We can start with the county, the sheriff, to help, just like we just did with this gentleman this last week.
Okay, Mr. Rust.
I don't know that I can talk about that or not, but there again, I haven't been across that creek yet, so I don't know what's on the other side. These people that's got mental problems, it's tough to lock them up, especially with other inmates, because you never know what's going to happen. It's bad enough locking them up when they don't have mental health problems, locking them up together, because when I was in LaFleur County, I got called up to the top floor. We had a jail on top of the building, and I got called up there several times to help quell a fight that was going on, and it was not a pleasant experience. Because when they get fired up, and there's nothing's going to talk them down.
Okay, thank you. All right. Do you favor inmate work programs for those serving time in the county jail? And if so, describe how you'd implement the program. Mr. Mullen?
Yeah, I agree with that. As a matter of fact, we tried that a couple years ago when we were running 130 people in our jail when we only hold 72. There had to be a way that they could be accountable for what they're doing, yet staying in their jail. You guys, when they're in the jail, it costs $35 a day to house them. And that's their food, everything from food to their clothing to their laundry, medical. That's a lot of money a day for this county. And so yeah, and we attempted to put that together, have a program, a work program out there where some of these pay their fines and costs. They can go out and work. Some that's got misdemeanors, you might be able to have a time instead of spending 6 months in our jail while we're taking all the money. They can go out and report and work off their fines. Just work with the agencies that can do that, working with the probation, working with the community sentencing, working with the judges, and we attempted to do that. And then COVID hit, and we all dropped down to our back down to getting these guys out. And so yeah, I'm for it, and to implement it, to put it in place. I'm not talking about hardcore prisoners or hardcore crimes. I'm talking about small misdemeanors that can be worked off and get them on their way and show them that we're serious. So yeah, I'm for that. You know, get these guys out. I told you before that I don't want a full jail of people just sitting around. Let's get them out there and get them busy doing what they need to be doing, taking accountability for their crimes and accountability for what they've done for society.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Rich.
You used to see them all the time out there helping and doing stuff. I don't know what happened to that, but I think it's a lot better for them for being out there helping and learning and maybe developing a trade and giving them another ride out of basically the reform, another direction. It helps them work off their fines, and it keeps them from just being tied up inside that jail 24/7, where you don't get to see much daylight. But I just think it's just more healthier for them to also just get out, and it helps the community. I mean, some of the stuff they provide, like some of the service they used to do with filling potholes. Well, that helps provide for the whole community, for everybody. So they're giving back actually to the community, helping like that. I don't have a whole lot to say, so thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rust.
How many of you's been up and down the highways in Garvin County? I tell you what, you could put a pickup out there with sideboards on it and gather up a load of trash before you get to Wynnewood. I go down there quite frequently, and it's garbage all over the roads. Now, the prison, that dog program out there, a lot of their inmates are taking care of that on their side of the road, but on the other side, it's pathetic. And I've got a good friend that's a sheriff over in Sequoia County. And one of the things he did when he got elected, he got a mowing group up that would go out in the county and mow these rural cemeteries. And the money that these rural cemeteries paid individuals to come out and mow their cemeteries, they were giving that to the sheriff for those guys. And the people really appreciated that. Don't know that would work in Garvin County, but I'm telling you, I've never been locked up, but I think I would almost do anything to be able to get out of a cell, get out of the jail, and go do something outside. Wash vehicles out here. But you gotta have a deputy with them to do that, because somebody's gonna run, they're gonna try you, and it's probably already happened.
Okay, thank you. Okay, for this next question, this is an opportunity for you to make some concluding remarks. We may need for you gentlemen to practice some better social distancing. Because, no, you're fine, you're fine. It's a joke. But we would like for you to tell us, if you would please, you will have 3 minutes. Timekeepers will have 3 minutes for this. Make your concluding remarks. Tell us why you are a more qualified candidate than the others who are running. And by the way, if somebody mentions your name or alludes to you, you will have an opportunity for a follow-up. Mr. Rich, we'll start with you.
I just believe I can bring better leadership inside the office where it was like I said, this is my own opinion. And some may see different, but I believe I can take it in another direction than it's been headed by having good officers, good deputies, and everybody out there helping the community, better public relations. And just being more prominent, being seen, trying to handle a whole lot of stuff that I've never done before. I have people offering help. If I do happen to get this, willing to help me, take a step forward, something I've never done before. This was a giant leap for me. I mean, not many people do this. But it's something worth trying, because I believe I can take something in a better direction than it's been headed. And there was a lot of people backing me in this. That's all I had to say.
Thank you. Mr. Mullen.
You guys, I just want to say this, I get it. I understand how it works. I understand where I came from. I know what the jail's like. I know what the field's like. I know how to supervise them. I know where how to run the office. I understand the budget. I understand the courthouse. I understand how to work with our judges. I understand how to work with our DA's office. You guys, as a sheriff, I believe that we are taking this in a positive direction. You know, we've got more involved in our schools than in any other office. We're out there in the schools. We're talking with our young people. We're talking with the ones that are telling them to make a difference, you know, to try to teach them to make the right choices. We're working with our seniors, letting them know. There's been a lot of scams going on with our seniors. I take that personal because I love our seniors. I want to take care of them. And so, yeah, we're going to be seen. You guys, I've got 27 hour patrol, or 24-hour patrol, 7 days a week out there. You know, on the budget that we have, we've got professional deputies. They're going to continue to be professional. I believe that our leadership, not only just mine, but the people that I have in place, that I've handpicked and put in the places are doing an awesome job. I believe our office is, every time I go out somewhere, I get compliments on our office, how well that we treat this county, the way that we're doing it. Our follow-up, my follow-up program that we've put into place. We get more compliments. Guys, it's as simple as just calling somebody and saying, this is what's going on with your case. We've been doing that, letting them know what was going on. We've implemented this, compliment after compliment. I believe that I have the leadership because I've been there. I believe that I have the leadership because I understand, guys, how the sheriff's office works. I know how the insides of the jail works. I understand how the mental health system works. I've been in meetings and I understand how investigations work. I understand how budget works. And I believe that I'm your best candidate. I believe that I'm here. I haven't left, guys. I've been here. I've been through thick and thin. I've seen stuff that works and I've seen stuff that don't. And then that's what I'm trying to implement. I'm trying to take all my years of experience in the sheriff's office and try to weed through all the stuff that didn't work and try to implement stuff that's working. And I believe that we're doing that right now.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Rust.
You have to know what I did when I retired, what I was doing when I retired. I was a special agent for the Oklahoma State Fire Marshal. I was on call 24/7, and I worked for them for 12 years. And I got tired of digging dead bodies out of houses, if you want to know the truth. That's not fun to do. And if you haven't done that, you don't know how much fun it's not. But I think that I will be a good sheriff because I've got the education, I've got the time in. I have, seems like all I've done all my life since I got into when I first started investigations was training, something or other in training. Every 6 months I was doing some kind of training. And, but like I say, I just got tired of doing the job I was doing. You know, when some grandmother or grandfather comes up and hugs your neck for digging their grandchild out of a burned house, I cried as much as they did because it bothered me. I mean, sometimes I still see that in my dreams at night. And if the phone rings at night, I'm up looking for clothes, and I haven't done that for a while. But still, when the phone rings, I think it's time to get up and go. And I think being a sheriff, I know that you'd have to get up and go too, but not quite like I was having to.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Let's give our candidates a round of applause. We so appreciate you coming tonight and fielding questions for us. They'll be here for a little while. If you have other questions you want to ask them individually, you can mingle with the audience. Wanted to let everybody know this Monday night at 7 o'clock at the Christian Life Church here in Pauls Valley, we will have our June monthly GOP meeting. Any of you who are interested in getting involved with the Garvin County Republicans, feel free to come. There again, 7 o'clock. It's the second Monday of every month. Right outside in the lobby, there is a place where you can sign up for our Gmail or text notification system if you'd like to be informed about events or if you'd like to be informed about our meetings. So appreciate you all for coming tonight. Thank you for coming. Be safe going home.
Oh, I will. It's getting better every day.